In this video, I'm going to discuss the future collectibility of E55 AMGs and answer if they're really going to be a future classic. So, I'm here on bringatrailer.com, and what caught my attention is that recently a few E55s have gone through this website. So, to start off, there is one auctioning right now, 5 days left, and it's currently at $28,000. Now this is an amazing find, 7,000 miles, 2005, already a good spec. This car looks to be in nice condition, you know, the interior looks very clean, under the hood very clean. This is an early 05, and you can tell that by the fact that it still has a clamshell lid as opposed to the sliding one that the later 05s and 06s have. So this is sort of an in-betweener. But most importantly, this does have the 580 series supercharger right there, not the 280, so it is a true 05, so that's a nice advantage. And then again with 05 you get a host of other upgrades, especially the convenience of the spare tire and stuff like that. So what do I think this E55 will go for? I think about 35 to 36,000, and I polled this on Instagram at AMG_Meister on my story, and I found that you guys out there are pretty much on the money with it too, and I saw that the average response was about 35,500, so it's right on the money. I think it'll go somewhere there too. This seller is obviously, you know, putting some time into this ad. Great underneath of the car shots. You know, it looks like 7,000 miles. Paint dev gauge. No, just sort of an interesting thing that the seller is doing. But to preserve the originality, they say they're keeping the original tires on the car, but they're like 2004 dated tires, so they're obviously quite old. They're probably not going to be up to their peak performance. But generally, it's kind of odd. A dealer would usually just put on the new rubber for safety. I don't think any car collector cares about having original tires, especially if you were to replace them with, you know, a modern equivalent MO Mercedes spec tires. I think nobody would be complaining. It would be a benefit. Kind of an odd one on that, but again, this car looks like it has the service history, which is very nice. And especially a car like this seems to have not been sitting for too long. It looks like it was just driven a little bit here and there, you know, probably has a few oil changes and whatnot. But one of the greatest examples of E55 really for sale. And sort of in comparison to that, one did go through here recently for 35,000, and it was a 12,000 mile 2003. So you think the black 2005 should go for more, but this car is quite a rare and desirable spec. It is white, alabaster white, which is very nice, on the two-tone red and black seats. And obviously this car is presented really nicely. You know, awesome pictures for this ad. This car is just very clean under the engine bay, underneath, just very beautiful. Obviously in the pictures, like the headlights look like crystal clear, not faded. Wheels look very bright, clean. So this is, you know, about as good as it gets for E55, besides the fact that this is a 2003. Like if this was a 2006, I'd say it would probably go for 40,000 or more. But you know, you can't have everything. And again, just a crazy number of photos in this ad. Really well presented, again with the paint depth showing behind the wheels. The Merlot interior is quite nice. You know, if you hit this with some leathery to really kind of matte the finish, I think these seats wouldn't be too bad. Some people say that this is not their favorite because the red is not, it's kind of a little bit of a more burgundy shade, but I think it's quite nice. I think it goes well with the white. Again, 2003, so you can see it has the 280 series blower, so not as aggressive gearing as the 05. This car is unbelievably clean underneath. You know, it looks like it was driven no miles, just judging by those fender liners and stuff like that. And once those get dirty, it's pretty difficult to clean them. So this car looks like it was driven, you know, only in perfect conditions, always cleaned, stuff like that. And other E55s have gone through here with a more kind of average specification, just silver, not too many options. And both 29,000 miles have gone around $22,000, which is sort of unsurprising, but in both cases I would say it's an excellent deal. The amount of car you're getting in these two cases is absolutely insane, and they're both very, very clean examples. So, you know, whoever bought these two have gotten an awesome deal. 29,000 miles for $22,000 is kind of ridiculous. And like, for example, on this car, the interior was just stunning condition. You know, you look through here, all the surfaces are very matte. The seat, absolutely insane how clean and well presented this is. I know these seats are quite durable, you know, compared to like BMW M seats, stuff like that, but still they can get a little wrinkled, a little kind of shiny, the leather. But in this case, everything's very nice. Now, this is a great example and a great deal for whoever bought it. And when it comes to E55s, though, in my opinion, that'll actually be collector cars down the line, was obviously going to be the wagons. And you can see that clearly by just how much people are paying for them. The wagon is much, much rarer than the sedan. The sedan, I think, talking US units, was just under 8,000, whereas wagons were 200 units, something like that. So incredibly rare and just great cars. I think the E55 looks great in the wagon version, and it has some awesome options when it comes as wagon. And this example sold for nearly $42,000 with 48,000 miles. But it's just an awesome car. The condition, again, presented very nicely. Seats look in awesome condition. Super cool features. The third row seating facing back in an AMG. I think that's awesome. Original window sticker, one of the more expensive E55s at $92,600 MSRP. Again, everything nicely done here. This is going to be one of the top E55s in the country for what kind of specification we're talking about. Wagon, good color, well presented, great condition. Headlights look crystal clear, stuff like that. That's just going to make sure that the car fetches that top dollar, which in this case I think it has. Beautiful interior, seats look awesome. One thing I always say I love about the E55 is the seats. Even their durability, how they hold up, how they look, I think is probably one of the best in their class, especially for the time. Window sticker here, again, paint depth gauges. That's the thing buyers like to see, and a wagon like this is, I think, a good investment for the future. Especially if you don't drive it around much, you probably won't need that much. Definitely, sort of a classic AMG sleeper. Very powerful, rare, which is something that older AMGs sort of took pride in, especially cool models like a wagon. So I think overall this is, again, an excellent buy. And then just showing how much color combo I think matters. Very similar mileage on this pewter wagon, but I just, in my opinion, I think pewter is not as sharp as black, and maybe this example wasn't presented as nicely as the black one. But again, for the money, 50,000 mile wagon for 35, so you're getting a lot. Really, and my advice to people is, if you're looking for that just E55 above all others, Bring a Trailer is not a bad place to look, because typically on Craigslist you're looking at all those higher mileage E55s. Really here there's been some nice examples, particularly these two. For the money, for what you're paying here for these two, I think both got excellent deals. You can see the 12k mile white on red did command a higher price, but again, it's such a nicely presented car. It looks so original, looks so clean, that I think it's worth every penny of that $35,000. Leave a comment below what you think this 7k mile 05 will go for. I think between 35, 36, the folks following me on Instagram have said 35,500. So, let me know what you think about this E55. I think it's going to be right about in that range. A very clean example like this in black. No accidents, no weird things. For sale by a dealer. It's only had 2 owners before the dealer took it over. So this is a sort of long-term ownership car. So I think it'll definitely pull a good amount of money. Maybe it's not presented as nicely as the white one that went for 35, but I think it's going to be damn near close in that sort of price range, the 35-ish price range. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one goes through, and really how much people are paying for low mileage E55s, because the thing about these cars is that they were very sort of top of the line, very cool back in 03, 04, 05, the fastest sedan and all that. So obviously there's those people who are nostalgic about back then, maybe they couldn't afford it at the time. Now they're being presented with all these like 12k mile, 7k mile cars, almost new. So it's their chance to buy that almost new E55. So obviously the dollars are going to be high in these cars. But I think that these low mileage cars, there's something special, obviously for the collector who wants to keep, and I think quite an important car, especially because of its status as the fastest sedan. It's one of the first kind of sedans in that 500 horsepower range. Over 500 pounds-feet of torque. So it's a sort of important landmark. So I think that these low mileage cars will always keep commanding, maybe potentially even higher and higher dollars. Now, because E55s are not that rare, about 8,000 in the US, I think that over time, still the higher mileage cars are not going to see any value increases. I don't really see that happening. If you're going to have an E55 that is commanding higher dollars, it has to have something special. Like, let's say if it was a Designo edition with low miles, obviously that car would command way above other cars because it's just so rare and so cool. I think E55s are interesting. I think they're obviously getting into that desirable range. You're not going to see that with some of its rivals like the Jaguar S-Type R. That's a car that's gone almost to no value. And then on the other end, the E39i5 BMW is going quite a bit higher than these E55s in terms of value. So it's doing pretty good for an automatic used German car, and people are really seeing sort of the value in this. I think the E55, the 211, does have very classic Mercedes styling, with the 4 lights, very subtle, and I think a very good looking car. So I think even on that alone, people are sort of buying these cars. They're buying these cars for the character of the engine, and I think that appeal is not going to go away anytime soon. So I think these E55s have some pretty good future potential, and it's going to be interesting to see what people bring to websites like Bring a Trailer or eBay, with low mileage, cool examples, with something special, and I think those cars will always be sought after. Alright, thanks for watching.